Wow, we're here, boys. Thanks for coming in. This is episode 3, Bailey TAlKS. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for checking in. Very exciting episode today. We've got the boys from Less Ordinary, Jack and Trey. Gentlemen, cheers to that. Thanks for coming in to Beer on Arrival. How good is that?
Doesn't get much better.
Thanks for coming in today, boys. Basically, I mean, the best thing to do to start with is just to do a bit of a background on, I think, both your stories, going through the brand, maybe even introducing yourselves and just telling our audience what you guys have started over the last couple of years.
Yeah, for sure. So, it pretty much all stemmed from, I guess, being a FIFO worker, doing it for 7 years, and just having, a lot of time to think about what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I guess when you're there, you're thinking of everything.
There's a lot of thoughts, all right? There's a lot of thoughts.
And you're doing 12.5-hour shifts, trying to come up with something. And it actually all started because I knew all the boys individually before this.
Yeah.
And it all started from me and Gussie, one of the boys. Me and him was just a call every day.
Yeah.
And he called me one day and he's like, we gotta come up with something.
Fuck, we got to do something.
So we come up with going to Mexico.
Okay.
Look at blue agave plants and make tequila.
Wow.
That's where it started.
That was the first thought.
Yeah. So me and him were going to go over to Mexico. It was called Coco Fuego. We were going to call it.
There was a worldwide tequila that was going to blow up.
Wow, that was the plan.
That was the pipe
a
dream
worldwide
the boys had.
tequila.
Yeah, and then obviously having to think about it and being well, obviously we don't have a passion for making tequila. We have a passion for drinking it though.
Yeah.
But it's never going to work. So then, ended up I don't know, having to think and pretty much thinking we do all this fun shit outside of work, wakeboarding, surfing, fishing, and we love it. We have all the toys to do it.
Boys, the best thing is, right, I was reading up on your website, right? A lot of your, we'll call it your ideology or your message is to drive people to live less ordinary, to do things that they want to do. When I first thought to myself about living less ordinary, I think of things like not caring what people think, doing what I love, especially with mates, friends, family. What does the brand mean to you boys now?
I reckon it's evolved a lot from where it started. But the fundamental thing it was built on originally was what Jack touched on, those common interests, those hobbies, fishing, surfing, getting out. And I guess it's all dependent on the person because that can change amongst people. But for us, it was just about no matter how much money you had, whether you were loaded or you just had, it was like a swag on the roof, like your mum's Corolla. You could just take off away one night or 1 year, whatever it be, travel Australia or just a night up the coast. And it was just chasing the little less ordinary moments in the day to day, just mundane 9-to-5 grind that everyone's in.
The weekend warrior.
Yeah, you could be a weekend warrior or the biggest traveller ever. But
so I've been following you boys for a little while. I've noticed that within the brand, a lot of it is based on fishing, boating, camping, outdoors. Can you talk me through, I guess, within the group, who sort of specialised in what industry, you could say? Did you all have a strong love for one thing? Was it a bit of both? Or
well, that sort of comes into play of how this all sort of started. So how it started was obviously me and Gussie talked about all that shit, and then we come up with Trey's obviously the fisher, loves his fishing. Weapon fisher. Cam's a forward driver. I love me wakeboarding and fishing as well, and Gussie's surfing. And
everyone's got their bases sort of covered.
Everyone's got their niche. And dude, how it started was I got in a bit of trouble at my rental property with building a granny flat.
Yeah, right.
And they left a bunch of earthworks there. I was going to cost me thousands of dollars. So I called Camo because I didn't know at the time, but he lived next door to me. And called him, and he's works for civil construction, so he can move dirt.
And mind you, you aren't super close mates at this point.
No, hardly really knew each other. And I was like, look, man, I need some help with I want you to come and move some dirt and do a bit of a day on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, no worries, bro. I'll come round. So he come round. He did a full Saturday 10 hours, full Sunday 10 hours on a digger.
What a bloke.
What a
mate.
But he did hit some storm waters. Which burst, and Gussie's a plumber.
Yeah, right.
I was like, Gussie, can you come round, bro? And he's like, yeah, I'll come round. So he come round, did a full Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
They did it all, and afterwards I was like, all right, boys, what do I owe you, sort of thing? And nothing. They just said, pay it to the next person, you're the man, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, a full Saturday, full Sunday.
Yeah.
And then that's when it all sort of started. That's the sort of people you want to be in
business
with,
right.
You know what I mean? So that's when it sort of evolved into us talking. And then me and Trey sort of we started the business, me, Gus, and Cam.
Yep.
And then me and Trey sort of took off to Europe for 6 months.
Yep.
And Mexico, and that's when sort of I was talking to Trey about coming in when he was over there.
Yep.
And the boys were like, nah, not a chance. And I'm going back to Trey, I'm going, yeah, they said like, yeah, when we get
They're
back.
in.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
mind
It's
you,
on.
prior to this, we did a trip away and I went away with the boys and it was like awesome. Like they'd started the business. I was just helping out with the fishing things and the content. And yeah, meanwhile, like Jack's like, yeah, you want to get on board? The boys are so keen. But they're back at home saying, no,
Nah,
like,
this is not going to
he's
happen.
not getting
So
it,
you
get
boys
rid of
all live in Newey?
Yeah.
Is that, yeah, right.
The boys are Lake Macquarie all work. Camo lives over there, me and Trey.
So who's in the group? Obviously, you two boys, and who are the other fellas in the group?
Cam Cherry and Angus O'Brien.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there's 2 others. There's 4 of yous in total.
4 of us, and then we have our cinematographer Cody, which
Yeah,
obviously if you've seen
Man.
the page,
He's
the
the
content,
don't worry. I've got some points on
Yeah.
that sort of stuff
Yeah,
because
and
that's
Cody Adams Media.
Yeah.
yeah, man. He's really nailing your stuff, and
Yeah.
I do want to touch on that soon. And I wanted to talk about the importance of that videography nowadays within the business, especially the sort of brand you boys are doing, because it has to appeal to people, and I think he's absolutely nailing that. And from early on, even from the first few videos you boys posted, he was nailing it on the head. And I know you would have been sitting back thinking, holy shit, like this is looking epic.
yeah,
When you started the brand, what were you thinking? Because obviously there's a lot of brands that do the boating, camping, fishing. You know, there's a lot of TV shows that do boating, camping, fishing. What was going to be your point of difference? Did you think about that at all?
The dynamic of 4 of us. 4
Yeah.
young fellas that just like love having a crack and
Yep.
like getting after it was probably the point of difference.
yeah.
for
And
me.
I think for us, is like a lot of those TV shows and other content creators, they're like very specialized. It's like they talk, a lot about specific details and stuff. We were just like, we just want to go do all the shit and just
Yep.
have like a mad time doing it. Like it's more, it's more just about the fun of doing it rather than like, the technical side of things, which
Yeah,
I think a
yeah.
lot of those other creators do. And like Jack touched on, the 4 of us too creates a way different dynamic where I think feed off each other's energies, we have a laugh, we do all that stuff, but we do it in a light-hearted way rather than take
Yeah.
it so seriously like some creators.
100%. And for me, like doing it by yourself in that space, for me, it wouldn't do it for me. Like I
True.
only love it because I get to get away with these boys.
Yeah, that's a good point actually, because there's a big difference between doing a project on your own as opposed to doing it with a group.
Exactly, and the workload. Like,
Yeah,
there's
sharing
a
the
huge
workload.
And like
Yeah.
me and Trey, like the other boys, when we were in Europe, like they carried it. Like,
Yeah.
and they've been awesome. Like
Can you talk to me a little bit about how you manage that workload? Because I think within any business, when you're going in a partnership or doing something within a team, it is hard to manage that workload. But more importantly, it's hard to make sure everyone's doing an equal amount of work and, say one person's not doing too much or one person's not getting left out. How hard is that to manage within like a group of 4 fucking good mates?
I reckon we've definitely had like our ups and downs as you do in business. Like there's been a few heated discussions, but I feel like it's a bit of an unspoken rule that, we definitely have our strengths and weaknesses too. Like the boys will pick up, where we drop the ball and vice versa. There'll be hard conversations, but I think like as far as sharing the workload and just doing the work, because we all have that, shared interest and common goal of like growing the business, growing the page. And because we're passionate about it too, it's like not a chore.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot easier, but it's, not to say that we definitely have a few.
the main thing as well, I think,
Discrepancies.
is like everyone needs to have their own thing that they do.
Yep.
So Camo's like he's all over the business side of it.
Social media.
Like Gussie's all over the merchandise and design, and Triassi does a lot of the content, going up and getting the, doing the fishing and actually organising the trips. And then like myself, I'll be going with Trias and then also doing the brand and networking. So if everyone sticks to their, almost sticks to their niche, and don't try and get involved in everyone else's shit.
That's so cool, eh?
Yeah, we sort of said that from the get-go, and even now, so we've refined it more. Like every time we sit down, we're like, right, this is
is
your
what
job.
you...
Like,
Yeah.
keep in your lane, but we'll discuss it
Yeah, I
across
love
all
that.
boards
I will
as
be
well.
honest, there has to be a delegator though, and Camo's that guy.
That's what I was going to
So
say. What are the
Camo-
roles within the group?
Camo definitely is the delegator because he's civil construction manager. Like he has that in him. He's got that
Leader. Leadership.
He's got he's very he takes very calculated risks.
Yeah.
Like Jack on the other hand is just like, oh yeah,
Bit spontaneous,
it'll work,
rushed.
spontaneous, which is good though.
You need to have that though. The
100%.
ideas, man.
That's the
100%.
best thing about the dynamic is like you sort of level each other out.
Yeah.
So you got like Camo who's very calculated, me who's like, I don't know,
Yeah.
pretty red hot.
Yeah.
And then you meet in the
Going at
middle,
things 100
and you-
miles an hour.
And you always find that middle ground.
Yeah,
it seems to
and I
work.
think that's our advantage with the 4 people opposed to being an individual. And we'll bring up those topics and then
having that, especially with you with the fast ideas coming up red hot, running into things, having someone or a group of you to slow you down and be like, Jack,
right.
mate,
exactly.
fucking just relax. You've got 20 ideas. Is that something that you think has that developed over time since the start, or from the get go? Do you feel like everyone sort of knew their role initially, or?
Oh, it's hard to say. Like everyone now, because obviously the boys didn't know each other at all.
True.
So that
that's another thing. So we're all strangers.
Yeah, right.
So now everyone knows each other inside out.
Yeah.
So as Trey said before, like you know your strength, you know your weaknesses, and Camo would delegate.
It's probably a bit of a risk getting into a business like when you don't really know the blokes that well, because like on surface level you might be like, yeah, he's a good bloke, he edits or he fishes or whatever, but working with, and this is what I've found out as well over the last couple of years, is that being mates with someone versus working with them is a fucking completely different thing.
It's totally different. Bro.
And you've got to learn to be patient. You've got to, like you said, you've got to learn to understand their strengths and weaknesses. Having tough conversations with mates, like, it's a very uncomfortable thing to do.
Yeah.
As I said before, it probably all stemmed off that weekend, bro.
Yeah, okay.
Like doing what they did and helping me out, because I was fairly fucked without them.
Yeah.
And like you can see the type of person they are from the get-go. And like it was pretty special.
Yeah, it's like we got into business with good people rather than maybe people that were good at what
they were doing. And that's probably better, maybe.
100%.
Because
you can learn that shit,
true. You can't be a good bloke.
No.
you can't learn to be a good bloke. You're either a fuckwit or you're a good bloke.
Exactly,
so that's actually so interesting. But it is true though.
It's very true.
And you're probably lucky though.
100%.
Like and it must be so good to look back now and how far you have come and be able to be like, shit, we're pretty lucky, boys, that we're all on the same page to some degree. We have the similar interests, similar goals,
Yeah, and that's why it works.
And like these guys, like obviously Jack knew them, the two of them, but I didn't know them from a bar of soap. And then I've come in, started business with these boys, and then like instantly, like above like all the other stuff that's happened, like now, like I'd call my best mates as well.
Sure.
Wow.
Which is huge. And like, and we argue, and it's like the friendship just got like super accelerated because it was like, all right, within months we're arguing with each other, which is like, you don't argue with your mates often, but it's like we're arguing and then we're having good times, bad times, character building, and it gets heated. But now these two boys, it's like, they're like, two of my best mates.
It's a funny story, man, because like obviously we're in Mexico after Europe, and I'm saying to the boys like, we need Trey. He's like, he presents well, like he's like somewhat the face of the page now, like, and
it's all dark, handsome, you know.
Exactly.
Brings a few girls, a few viewers in.
I don't know about tall.
You'll take it. We're sitting down now, so no one fucking knows, all right? He's tall. He's tall.
Yeah, dude, like I'm going back and forth saying, yep, he's keen. And so the boys are like, all right, organise a dinner, and when we get home, we want to hear from him. And if we don't like what he's got to say...
So initially you were like, we need to get him in, and they were like, well, hang on, we need to fucking...
They're like, not a chance.
Look, I'll add as well, I was like, nah, dude, like I can't. I was like, I can't afford it financially. We've just been traveling for 6 months. Like I'd quit my job, sold my car. I was like, starting fresh. He's like, all right, like come in on this business. Like, I'm just going... Dude, it's not viable.
Especially from him too. Red hot. He's telling you, we're doing this thing. Come on.
It's
all good. Get in on this. You're probably thinking...
It's easy. Just do it.
Jack, just fucking slow down, mate. This is fucking... Have you thought this through properly,
And I was telling him, and he's just like, bro, just stop thinking about it. Just do it.
Don't think. Just attack it head on.
That's his thing. Like, and to be fair, like, it has worked out pretty well for you.
Yeah.
It needs something to keep in check. And then,
But we ended up having this. We had dinner at Barbolo.
Yeah.
And the boys go to me for, you make sure he brings a contract with how he's going to come up with the money to come in, when the date of when he's going to pay.
Shit, the pressure's on.
It was huge. And I'm going,
so we rock up with no contract. We rock up with fuck all.
Yeah, of course, as you do.
And anyway,
there's no paper.
Mind you, Jack said none of this.
Yeah, right.
Come, we'll have a chat.
I had it all up here.
It's all going to work out in the end, mate, the mastermind.
So it started with all that. It ended up with Trey just saying his piece, and then it ended with him saying, I can't do it, boys. And the boys going, Trey, you have to fucking do it.
Wow, so the tide flipped.
Yeah, I was just like, they put the hard word on, and I was like, you know what, I can't. Yeah, I can't do it.
Which
I was like, look,
I
was like, I couldn't, like the position I was in at the time, it was like, it just wasn't the right call. And you're starting a business, huge risk.
Massive risk.
You know what I mean? Like you're putting your
big
all
risk.
in. I'm just going, well, it's probably not the smartest move. And I'm definitely more on the more calculated side.
Yeah, a bit more reserved, a bit
so
more conserved.
Like, like it's, a blessing and a curse.
Yeah. Whereas Jack's, if he's got $10 in his sports
Oh,
bet, he's
bang,
fucking.
bang, bang, bang.
That is going to be empty by the end of the Saturday afternoon on the
bad
punt.
voice on his shit. Oh, he's bad.
Yeah. Fast forward, that conversation was had. The boys end up like going, we can like just make it work, and fast forward now, what, like 12 months.
And thank fuck you did, by the sounds,
Absolutely. Like, wouldn't have it any other way.
I want to know a little bit about some challenges over the course of the last. How long's it been now?
It's been 2 years since we come up with the idea and registered the business, but we started the Instagram probably just over a year ago.
Yeah, let's go 2 years. In the last 2 years, if you reflect right now on the last 2 years, does any significant challenges pop up to you? Maybe early on, maybe midway through, maybe recently. Anything that has really made you have to work through some shit?
I reckon for us, the business has evolved in like 1,000,001 different ways. From like the original plan of what it was going to be, and then it's like we've just sort of adapted and changed as we've seen. Like, you live and you learn, and like we've learnt heaps along the way. So for us, like overcoming those challenges of like what's going to work, what's best for the business, where's the growth going to come from, and then like really staying true to that whole like the whole less ordinary approach and just doing the shit we love. Like we don't want to sell out. We don't want to be those guys that just like, try to make a quick buck or whatever. We seriously enjoy what we do, and it was like we had to stay true to that. So like always having to come back to that vision that is so hard.
And it's very hard to do.
It is hard. It is really hard. But yeah, the challenges that have come with that has probably been the biggest thing for me personally.
Yeah,
and myself probably like the consistency of trying to get away, juggle the job, juggle
time,
life, juggle other mates, like everything, and then like Mother Nature's another one. Like, with us,
weather.
We can't just go away and do it all the time.
This weekend's blowing fucking 30 knots. We're not going on the jet ski out of 30 fucking knots.
Nah, so that's probably my biggest thing, trying to juggle normal life, work.
Well, the thing with that too is that consistency. It's that you don't have that ability to be like, we're going to plan, we're going to go on a jet, we're going to go fishing these 2 weekends of this month, or we're going to go out in the boat. You don't get to do that with fishing and the weather and that.
And we do that because we have to in terms of like what we've got in time off, but you just sometimes have to roll with the punches. And that again is like a mission in itself, because there's been times like, all right, trips booked in, all right, weather's fucked, what do we do? Like, let's adapt. The whole thing gets turned on like upside down, and then reevaluate, go again, and then because we're juggling the four of us too, and in a lot of our content we would like to have the four of us, it's like if that trip doesn't pay off as planned, it's like, right, 6 weeks in advance.
Can everyone make this trip?
Can we make this trip?
And are you okay if you're not there?
100%. And Cam's engaged. Gus has got a long-term missus. I got a partner myself, and it's like
Jack's single.
Yeah, Jack's single.
Sorry, I had to throw that in there. Well, you weren't saying anything, so I was like, just spitting out the obvious,
My man.
But yeah, juggling like personal life as well is like, that's another big one for us.
I also think about like a good segue to that would be, with a business, obviously you need to make money to support yourself, right? Yeah. And when I, looking back on your page and how it's grown over the last 2 years, some of your videos have gone significantly viral, particularly your giveaways. You have done a fucking great effort with that. And that's probably partly to do with the videographer as well. And like because he's been nailing that sort of stuff. Yeah. How do you balance the earning a buck side with the business? Like, because obviously you're driving this passion that you love, your fishing interest, your camping, your ideas, but in the same time, you still need to find a way that you can find the community to support what you're doing. So how do you balance that?
It's sort of an easy way to look at it for me is the stuff we're doing, we would all be doing anyway. So the money you're spending on the stuff you're doing, you'll be doing in your life anyway. So that's easy at cost. To make this something that we can all live off, we're going to have to earn like profit margins upwards of like, what, 5
it's all, like for us to all comfortably sort of want to
replace our wage now, like
especially in the jobs that everyone's in currently. It's not like we're just coming off the back of, working at a cafe a few days a week out of nothing, so the risk isn't as high. Like there's a bit more on the line at the moment. But making the money, like Jack said, it's like that we'd spend that money anyway and the passion, but that is a bit of a challenge too, juggling the two of those things.
Absolutely.
And like trying to, you want to do what you love, and keep creating this page, but also it comes at a cost.
Yeah. Oh, big time. And I think people forget that. Like, from looking from the outside in, people are like, oh, these boys are making this business. They're making fucking heaps of money. They're doing so good. Like, they're getting all these views, followers. But the reality is, you're working jobs on the side.
100%.
You got to find time to do what you love. It's not
Yeah.
fucking easy.
No, it's not easy, and it doesn't come easy. But
and I think some people probably don't understand that until they have a crack at something. And I'm sure people would, but I think it is easy. You look at successful businesses and people who have achieved stuff, and a lot of it is literally just taking the risk and having a crack and saying to yourself, all right, if this doesn't go well, I'm fucked. I've got nothing.
That was my biggest thing, like doing them 12-hour shifts. I was sitting there going, if I don't have a crack, and I'll never know.
Yeah.
Like, I'll never know. And then I'll work that job for the next 50 years.
Yeah.
And I'll never know whether like it could have worked or not.
yeah, and it is hard too, because like you said, you're full steam like on the business. I don't know. It's a hard one to juggle.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah.
That's good. It's a good point that what you said though, because you don't want to have regrets. So you look ahead and you're like, well, I can keep doing what I'm doing, and I can sit back and think, fuck, I wish I had done that. Or you can just give it a whirl.
100%. And we will get to a stage where it's like you need to take the leap.
Yeah,
and
true.
It will be like a fine line. It will be a fine line to be like,
true.
Oh, boys, we're gonna have to
go. And that's an exciting but scary time,
100%. Yeah.
But I think if that's what you want to do, you're gonna have to have that conversation.
Yeah.
No doubt, you will fucking nail it. Let's talk about and I had a lot of information on this. I don't know why I wrote so much shit down about this, but about the videography and the content side of things, because my opinion is that nowadays within business, if you're not hammering the socials, if you're not coming up with creative ideas with the content, then you're probably missing out. Massively. And I think there's a lot of old school businesses who don't have access to TikTok, to social media, Instagram, YouTube.
Yeah, for sure.
First and foremost, two-part question. One is, can you tell me about who does your video work? And two, why do you think that's so important nowadays within having a business in 2024?
Yeah, I reckon so. All of our content, like our high production value content, is done by Cody Adams. Cody Adams Media. He's a freelance photographer, videographer. He's been the best mate of mine since we were like maybe year 7, and he just always had like this like creative spark. Like, we'd do trips even when we were younger. Me and him flew to WA with my old boy, and we did a trip, and like we must have been 13 at the time. He had a little handheld digital camera and like started editing, and then it just evolved, and then we were doing trips and YouTube, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And this is all on the side prior to Less Ordinary. And then it was a no-brainer for us starting Less Ordinary. Like, we need to stand out like for what we're doing, and none of us can do it as it is. So like getting Cody on board and what he can do and his vision. And the difference is he's just not a dude that's good with the camera. Like, he loves all the shit that we do. Like, he loves going forbing, he loves going fishing, he loves being around the water, diving, all of it. So he fits straight in, and he has his visions that like obviously we don't see. So for us, it's like it would be nothing without what he sort of brings to the table. And like you said, that standing out and making high quality production sort of stuff in that space as well, it's tricky because it's a pretty like hostile environment. You're on the water, it's windy, or like wherever you are, and like he's in it and amongst it. And I feel like for us that was our massive like point of difference. And I know like we recently went to the Forward Drive show on the weekend, and other creators were like, your content, like the actual production stuff is good, like it's crazy good. And it is all accredited to him, like doing what he does. And
very talented dude.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, he gets it.
It's interesting because I think like previous to nowadays, you would have to probably hire a film crew or get in old mate with his massive camera on his shoulder and videoing you, and have a producer, and things like drone footage you just couldn't have access to. And
it would never work that with our crew as well.
Yeah.
Say like we did hire a production crew, like they got to come on the trip with you.
Yeah.
And like, what's that like? What are they like? Like,
true.
How are you gonna get on? Like, we know Cody's one of our best mates. You go away, we're drinking beers that night, having a ball.
Yeah.
So like that's been the point.
Don't need to worry about some other guy.
And he's chill, like it's just,
it almost just seemed like everything was meant to be.
Like,
wow. Had this thing, this idea came, like brought the people together, and like I was like, oh, my best mate's just is insane at what he does, and he lives in Newcastle, and he loves doing it. He's like he loves doing that content. Like he would probably do it aside from getting paid and doing it as a job. Like he would do that because it's his passion. Like we're going away on trips, and like I've fished with him and done all that stuff since we were young and diving and that. And before he even picks up the gun or the rod or whatever, he'll pick up the camera.
Yeah.
Like, just be like, he just like loves it. And
it must be so nice to have someone in the group that, like, you know that their job is to make you boys look good.
Yeah.
You don't have to ask him to do it.
No.
He's just doing it anyway. And it must be relieving to be like, fuck, like.
Well, you know he's not going to miss.
That's true.
Like, he's always there. He's got all the gear. And he's actually, like, freakishly, like, he'll get in with sharks.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
Like, he doesn't.
There's no one else that would do it. I just can't imagine that anyone else out there that would even be able to do what he did. And the fact that he's just was in our social circle is insane.
Yeah.
But
That's so interesting. Hey, like, it's almost like it was just perfect. I was just meant to be.
yeah.
But you know, the other thing too is, like, nowadays with mobile phones and the way that you can capture content, it's evolved so much from how it used to with content creation. Like, now with the wireless audio, you can get really good content nowadays with an iPhone and a wireless camera, a wireless audio setup, and it can look just as good as how previously you'd have to get a film crew in or get the HD cameras. It's so handy now to have a business in that space where you don't need to be investing so much money into that. You can have someone with a great idea, and you've got access to this new technology where you can just be like, fuck, this isn't too hard. It's flexible.
It's funny you say that because the production, like quality production stuff from Coach does extremely well. Like, you pick up the iPhone and get a clip like of you like floating in the water with that jewfish, it goes viral. Like, the raw footage is very
It is a great, you know, like, obviously content creation businesses and stuff, which is pretty much what we're built on, is like, it's a good day and age to have that, like you said, the access to drones and all that stuff. Like, it's pretty accessible, it's pretty user friendly, it's easy. The difference is we just can't chop it all together like he can. So.
It's a good point. Hey, you mentioned that, like, you'll get sometimes something will pop off, like you won't even think it's going to fire off. He'll make something that doesn't do as well. What have you noticed about the trends with what you're capturing that's doing really well, as opposed to, like, we've done this hectic video, fuck, it hasn't landed as much as we were expecting, and then you go and film something off your fucking phone, you're like, that just fired. How that makes no sense.
It hurts.
It's like people want to see carnage.
Yeah.
They want to see us either doing something stupid, something breaking, getting hurt, whatever it is, and also it changes between the platforms. Like Instagram, like the high production stuff seems to do fairly well, and then like you go onto the TikTok and it's like any clip with any sort of value and you put a like bit of effort into it, no good. But if I pick my phone up and film just useless shit, bang, we get 100K or 200K.
And that is the most insane thing to me, because I think now of, like, you go on TikTok or Instagram, you look at what's trending or what's going viral. It's those behind the scenes videos. It's not necessarily the pretty shit. It's the raw, like, just me videoing you going, Jack, how big is your cock? You know, like just the most random shit.
It's
ridiculous.
It's the era.
We'll have to cut that out. I don't know if I can say that. Can I say that? Fuck, I don't know. I don't know if I've got any young listeners or chicks. How big is your cock? Yeah. Keep it in. It's staying in. Sorry, what did I say? I don't know what the fuck I was saying. It's the beers talk, boys. I told you I've had 2 beers. Fucking hell.
Charging. It is full, like, the era of, like, authentic content. No one wants to see the prettied up Instagram models and the polished, the polished shit. It's like,
100%.
we want to see you doing what you do. We want to see the shit that goes wrong, the shit that goes well. And, like, we've noticed that when we're being authentic on camera, for whatever reason, it just gets received so much better. Whether it's like I don't know if it's a subconscious thing or whatever, but people that view it, like, you just know when someone's been genuine, and you know when they're just taking the piss.
I'd love to know. I think you're right. It could be a subconscious thing.
Who knows? But it seems there's definitely a trend.
For instance, like when we did this tuna clip where like we sight casted tuna, launched the ski, cinematic, it was epic video. It did like well, but nothing like serious. And then we dragged
not what it deserves.
We dragged a boat off the barge and broke some rollers off the boat and like fucked the boat up.
Yeah.
That got like
full viral,
500,000 views. Like it was just a nothing video. Like,
and you're sitting there thinking, we've just fucking caught this tuna. Like we've got all this effort. This looks so epic. And you just want to see the boat getting broken. Like, come on.
We could have just done that.
Yeah. What about, like, speaking on that, like some of your videos that have done well, like, can you tell me about over the last, we'll go the last 12 months, which videos have really fired off for you? I know there's a few giveaways you boys have done that have really fired up.
Yeah, the giveaways always fire. The fishing community is pretty insane.
Yeah.
Like you,
they are insane.
You got to bring up.
loose.
You got to bring up Scotty.
Yeah.
The
So,
what?
We didn't know your dad was Scotty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, do you know what's funny? Because I texted him before this, and I actually called him, and I said like I got sent to your page, and I was like, I got these words. Like I've been fishing since I was so young. Like man, it's crazy. And he just sent me this list of questions of all this shit.
No way.
Loves it. He's like, make sure you ask the boys this, all this fishing stuff. And I was
Trey goes, yeah, Scotty Hillier's Bailey's dad, and I was like,
Yeah.
nah. I was like, no.
he's going,
I was like,
bro.
no, he's not.
No, I'm like, dude, he is. I'm like, he fucking is. I'm like, he knows. And he's like, nah, bro. And I
Yeah.
showed him, he's going, what the fuck?
It's loose, eh? It's
way.
loose. Which is why it was so fitting to have you boys here, because like I love all that sort of shit. And I've
Yeah.
been doing it since since I was a nappies. Dad used to drag me out.
Yeah.
My earliest memories, honestly, growing up, mum and dad would be, mum would never come, but me and my brother, we'd get like a weekend off school. It'd be blowing like 20 knots. We'd be in this like dingy little tinny, and we'd just be hammering. And I remember just hanging on this little rope for my dear life, just doots. And then we had some blow-ups in the boat too. He'd be yelling at us. I remember there was one time we'd be chasing barra, and we'd have like those little silent electric motors in the front, and I'd have to operate it, and it was stressful because he'd be looking at me going, fucking you go forward, go backwards. And I'd always end up going fucking into the fucking weeds or whatever, and he'd be screaming at me going, fuck, what the fuck are you doing? Sorry, Dad.
Dude, if I knew, you would have been in on that live.
Mate. Yeah, true. Hey, it's not too late, is it, boys? Hey, the fifth member.
I'll talk to the boys about
Yeah.
it.
Listen. Hello,
Jack will
podcast.
convince him.
Yeah, it is crazy though, because Dad's like my upbringing has been a lot of what you boys have been preaching and doing. You know, the
Yeah.
fishing, outdoors, camping, snorkeling, spearfishing, all that sort of stuff. So,
And it probably wasn't as cool back then, like when we were growing up.
No
That's the thing.
way.
Like, this has only
Yeah.
exploded in the last like
and
few years.
I still think I wouldn't say it's super popular now, but it's definitely getting more popular. It's
Yeah.
still a bit like not everyone's doing that sort of stuff.
Yeah, well, it's just it's still controversial, like I guess, like
Yeah.
some of the stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, like some of them posts, like going back to what you said before about going viral with the content giveaways and stuff, and like that fishing community. Like I know when I was younger, like fishing or whatever, like that sort of stuff's just not that cool. You know, surfing's always been, you know, like you put on
Especially
a
around
pedestal
here.
massively, like growing up in
Yeah.
Newcastle, and then all of a sudden there's like been this slow shift, and like I noticed, you know, my younger brother, he's in high school, and like a lot of people fishing now, and like they're going away and they're camping, and it's like it's all sort of morphed into one, and like those sorts of posts and stuff that have gone viral and those content giveaways, like the fishing community, they just go nuts. Like it's like insane. It's like a niche.
They're
that,
a bit
like,
loose, eh?
Oh, it's
Like you're giving away like a bit of gear and you're getting 50,000
But
comments.
do
Like
you reckon it's because like the people who follow that, they fucking follow it? They're not half-assed. Like you know, there's a lot of brands that like you know
you could
clothing or
almost say
whatever.
it's like culty. Like,
yeah, and it's also like you think about
if you
the
fish, it's like
You're into it.
mate,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
fucking fish.
Yeah.
because
Like,
the gear's fucking expensive.
yeah,
as well.
true,
That's
true,
the thing.
true.
and the demographic, you know, like from 5 years old to 80 years old, like, but you can fish. Like you're not restricted from like playing
And women
footy or
too,
whatever.
females love fishing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and like chicks, I don't know. There's a chick up north. I know you've probably seen her on socials, but she's like, must be her boyfriend just filming her like out in a tinny. She's
Yeah.
got like nice rig.
Yeah.
Like, good on her.
It works
but-
well.
Yeah, work obviously helps,
Yeah.
but like she
Yeah.
can actually fish too. Like I
Yeah.
saw her jigging the other day, and I was like, what the fuck? Like she's got her cannons, her bouncing, and she's jigging, and I'm like, what the fuck? She can actually jig. Like she's like two for one. You know?
That's a recipe for success. That
Yeah,
is. That's
that is
probably
massive.
We might have to cut that part too, Jacob. I don't
How
know.
much are we going to be cutting out?
Sammy, can we get another beer, please, mate? Not to sound like a fucking orderer, but is that all right? We might have to cut that part as well. Me sound like a prick. Love you, mate. Thank you, mate. Let's talk about your favourite camping, fishing spots. Maybe even a few stories. You can start with where are your boys' favourite places to camp or fish?
You got the spot.
Yeah, I've got probably a couple in mind. I grew up on the west.
Jump in, mate. Jump in. You're all right.
Get in here.
Mate, you're coming to sit down shortly, so you don't have a choice. So
Yeah, I grew up on the west coast originally. My old boy, most of my family live over there. So when like in my younger years, spent a fair bit of time up in a place called Exmouth, which is
yeah, wow,
northwest
that's
WA.
north. Yeah, north and Western Australia. Yep.
Like Ningaloo Reef, like to this day, my favourite place on earth. Like love going there, love fishing, love the weather. Like it's like south enough, you're not in crop country.
Yep.
And like the water's warm and it's like, I don't know, it's just unreal. So that'd be sort of my top pick. And
Yep.
then coming over to the East Coast, I just love spending time up at like the Palms, you know,
Yep.
buoys,
Yep.
boomers, seals, all
Yep.
that. I've, you know, just spent time camping at, you know, booty, bulls, paddock, all those things since I was little, tretch, all the rest of it, and surfing and fishing and just carrying on. And it's so close to home, overnighter. So for that, like, as accessible as it is, that holds a pretty special place in that joint.
As it would, home.
And I was lucky enough to go over with Trey and do 3
He
or
took
4
you over?
weeks. He took me over, the big dog.
How was that?
It was unreal, man.
Was it?
Like, it's just different. Like, you're so spoiled for choice. It's not like, oh, let's go out and something might happen like it is here.
It's happening.
like,
Shit happens.
shit
What's the
happens.
fishing like? Fishing's loose?
Just every day, like, you have those moments where you're just going like,
Holy shit.
oh my fucking God. Like, this
True.
is insane. Like, and that happens 10 times a day, every day.
Yeah,
Like,
wow.
just shit happens and I don't know.
Have you boys been up north, like Great Barrier, like Ingham, Townsville? Because that's where I grew up. I grew up in Ingham. And like the fishing there is loose.
It's loose.
Like,
We've never done a trip there.
mate,
We've spoken a million
that's got to be,
times,
honestly,
I've
I'll
done
get
Northern
Dad's
Territory.
GPS from our old boat. We used to go out chase nannies. It was cooked. That's actually, just before we move on to some more favourites. Thank you, mate. Thank you, boss. Brody Moss, right? When I think of you boys, I think straight away of Youngbloods and what he's been able to do, and his team's been able to do.
Yeah.
Would you look at him as someone that you are trying to not copy, but maybe follow his footprint in terms of what he's trying to create?
It's tough because, like, Brody's the OG.
Is he the GOAT?
He started all this.
Yeah, there's a reason he's massive. And he, funny enough, grew up in Exmouth.
Yeah.
Did he? There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
like, the opportunities for the content side of things are crazy. He's the originator. But as far as following his footsteps, I love his content. Don't get me wrong. I loved it when he first started, right? And he had a humble Prado and the tinny, and he was going with his mates. And, like, you know, as he got bigger, the boats got bigger in the car, and shit became, like, unaccessible. And for us, the whole mantra built on Less Ordinary is, like, you don't need to have it all. Like keep it. Like, we just love doing it. Like, with the boys, like, just do what, I don't know.
The Weekend Warriors.
Just do the like the shit you love. And, like, obviously now he's grown. I understand the platform's gotten bigger. He's now got to branch into new avenues of content, like doing
which you
this
sort
crazy
of have to, being like 8 point.
Yeah, and he's restricted worldwide audience. But, like, for us, it was, you know, I love his stuff, and I definitely draw, like, a bit of inspiration from his early stuff. But currently it's like, I don't think that's the avenue Less Ordinary is going to go down.
Interesting.
That's what he's doing at the moment. Yeah.
Because he is the OG within, in my opinion, in terms of the recent years, like that next level of the boating, camping, fishing, and the YouTube series, the socials. Like, there's no one really who's doing that nowadays.
Not on that level.
Like,
there's a few creators on the West Coast that, like, sort of dabble in it, and then there's a few others that are like we spoke about before, like a bit more niche, and, like, they talk about the technical side of things. And then, like, for us, we feel like if we can do a bit of that, 4 of us, just take it a bit more light and breezy. Like, we don't want to be fish. Like, we're not technical fishers.
There's
like,
a reason,
like
we called it Less Ordinary and not, like, you know, something fishing or.
True.
We want to branch out into everything, like your wakeboarding, your fishing, obviously your surfing, your forward driving, the whole camping, touring vibe, like everything.
Yeah.
And that's the handy thing of having a brand name that's, like, can be anything.
It's very broad.
Tell me about the wakeboarding stuff with you, just quickly.
Yeah.
Like, so you've got a bit of background in that sort of work?
Yeah, I grew up in Yamba. So I was born Grafton, grew up in Yamba, so Clarence Valley. We had a wake setter back when I was younger and just did a shitload of wakeboard. But, like, growing up, I moved to Sydney for the footy stuff and played there, and then come back, and it's like, these days, if you're looking at a wake like Malibu boat, 250 grand.
Too expensive.
And, like, it's a rich man's game. Like, it's not accessible. So I get to do it sometimes on, like, mates' boats and stuff, not as much as I'd love to.
Do you have any followers who you notice that will message you when you do that, release some sort of content that are like... Are they those people who love that sort of shit, like that wakeboarding stuff?
It's funny because we've made one proper reel at Lake St. Clair, which is a beautiful spot. Like it's insane. And I seen... After that, the world champion barefooter followed us on Instagram.
There you go. See? That's a good one.
So doing, like, all the different sorts of, like, activities, I suppose.
It does attract those...
Broader, yeah.
That's so good.
But I'd love to do a bit more of it. It's just obviously, like, the fishing stuff does so well. It's hard to spend that money on Cody and spend the money on...
and our time and all the rest of it. Like, it's not... You can definitely say a wakeboarding audience is nowhere near as big as the fishing side.
Fishing.
Because it's not accessible.
Yeah.
You can't just go weekend I'm going to go wakeboard.
Yeah.
Balancing that is just, it's a no.
It's good to still have that there though for you, you know,
sure.
because you still can do that, and people still will want to watch that sort of shit. I wonder if you could do like some funny like fails or get the boys. Have you boys done much of it, like the wakeboarding that?
Oh,
or
I'd be useless. It'd be funny.
making a video
hilarious
of like
to
the
watch.
boys
I was
like
thinking about this the other night.
learning how to wakeboard. Imagine that.
And I was going to float to the boys like we should do a learn how to barefoot.
Mate,
but,
that's a
in
great
boys.
video.
So
This is you at work with your ideas, sitting there going, hang on, learn how to wakeboard. Yep, boys, write it down.
how can I
Yep.
fuck the boys up?
Yeah. That was one of your 50 ideas that night on that shift.
Exactly, bro. You'd hate to be in my head.
Oh my God. It's probably similar to mine anyway, so it's all good. Back to your favourite fishing spot. Do you got a spot that, because have you always loved fishing?
Yeah. So I've fished with my old man since I was young.
Yep.
Obviously didn't have like the capabilities or the area to do all like the top water, like sports fishing. But yeah, like fished at Yamba with my old boy from a very young age, and then moved to Newcastle and fished Newcastle, and then obviously meeting Trey, it just like sort of broadened my.
Question for Trey. I guess growing up, having that luxury of the access to the fishing you got, coming back to the east side, because I had this issue too, being spoilt growing up, right? Like being able to catch fucking red emperor, black marlin, and being like, and then you go somewhere like here, and it's like, what the fuck is this? Like, is this fishing? Like, how's that been for you? Like, do you find that interesting? Or?
Yeah, it's definitely a tricky one. It's funny though, like, because I came over at such a young age, like, I sort of branched off from my old boy. You know, your old boy shows you everything, and then I just had to learn for myself. And then I just had like an obsession with, like, almost torturing myself with some of these fish. Like, it was like, we might
have to cut that.
Wait, there's gonna be a lot of cuts this episode. This is gonna be called Bailey Gone Rogue with Less Ordinary.
the juice.
Yeah, like just putting myself through hell, like, you know, just like long hours and this and that. And I almost find like so much satisfaction in like not being easy, like coming into it, like it being hard and like having to work in it. Like,
do you ever get a bit pissed off? Are you ever a bit like, fuck, I just want to go back home and just fucking get bag limit on?
Massively.
Yeah.
Like like sometimes I'm like, what the actual fuck am I doing? And
Yeah.
then I'm like, if I'm to explain people what I've done, it's like, it makes no sense. Like, so you go like 40 times middle of the night, freezing cold rain, and you catch nothing. And then when you get it, you'll let it go. I was like,
You're almost like not embarrassed, but you're always like, I don't want to tell you what we did, because it's like, it's not even worth sharing.
Yeah, but for me, I'm like, I don't know, I'm like, I'll do it again. It's weird.
The accomplishment.
It's just like, it's like anything in life. If it's hard to achieve, it just means it's got heaps more value.
So much sweat.
So,
what are the other two like with fishing in terms of patience, and how do they go?
It's funny because Gus doesn't fish at all.
Doesn't he?
Nah, but he
hates it,
and he gets seasick as.
I was going to ask a question on that, but tell me about Gus first.
But he's a trooper, bro. Like, he doesn't. The shit
He'll have a crack?
He's like, oh, fuck, I hate fishing. I get seasick. And he'll spend the whole day out there, not winch once.
He won't complain.
He's got
really?
He's got the business in his best interest.
Right.
Whatever is like, whatever's going to help us, he's like...
He's not whinging, going, turn me around, get me home.
Gus, man, he's just like, I can't even explain how he works, but he's the man.
Yeah, okay.
He's the man.
Yeah.
I love that. It's good to have someone like that, though, especially with... fishing's not for everyone, you know, especially the seasickness stuff. Like, some people just can't cop that, you know? No. What about something like, let's go like your craziest experience or catch? We'll stick with fishing, because I know you were telling me a little bit of a story the other day when I spoke to you.
It'd have to be the marlin off the jet ski in recent trips. Like,
that was definitely in recent times that was loose.
Yeah. Run me through that from the start.
Can I paint the picture?
Yeah,
I feel like I got this. Do it well. Jack picks me up from work, got the ski on the back, like, there's been a few marlin around, black marlin inshore, so you don't have to go heaps far. I was like, Jack, let's fucking go on off the jet ski. Like, this is loose. Like, everyone's out there in boats or whatever.
Big boats too.
Yeah, I was like, let's fucking do it. He's like, he's like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's do it. So he picks me up, we shoot up the coast, we set up a little camping spot where, you know, we're up. Anyway, that's not much.
We'll cut that too, don't worry.
We had a big night, and then got up in the morning and get out in the jet ski, and we launched off the beach and we shot out to this reef, and like, I've never done it before, he's never done it before, but like,
how far out are you? Like,
not far inshore stuff, like maybe a couple of K. Like,
yeah,
it's pretty close.
Yeah.
We boost out in the dark, like, and like, you know, bit of fishing knowledge, intuition, whatever. Like, just do the right thing, get a few baits, and start driving around. And here we are, putting along. And he's hard. He's just on the side, I can throwing up over the side of this.
Hungover.
Yeah, I'm looking out the back of the looking up the back of the ski, just like looking at, and he's just real
Crook
quietly.
as.
I didn't want to kill the vibe.
No,
Yeah.
no.
So I'm just going like I'm sort of
Trying to do it sneaky.
Yeah. Anyway, next minute, like 50 massive game boats rock up. Like we're getting circled by these huge boats.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
and they're looking at us like, use it.
What are you doing?
And
These
then
idiots.
next minute, our rod just goes off on the ski.
Bullshit.
Me and Jack are fucking going, yeah, we're on. Like,
Did you?
Marlon's just going.
So hold on. So we use trolling? Or
Yeah,
we
so we're trolling live baits.
Live
like, real
baits.
slow. So
and
it's
there's
like,
boats around you as well.
yeah, so
trolling.
you like working a patch of reef, and like a big ball of bait, and we're just up and down, and like
How
I
long
said,
had you been trolling for?
I reckon we'd been out there for maybe an hour or so, and then all these boats rocked up. Right, nothing had happened, and then next minute we just hook up.
And we're playing up about it too.
Yeah?
We're
As you
screaming.
would.
Yeah.
And
Has that
everyone's
been done
looking-
before? Like, I know it's a silly question, but like, surely there's.
Yeah,
It would've
people have
been.
definitely.
But there wouldn't be
caught-
many people who've caught a marlin off a fucking
Nah,
jet ski.
not many. Not around here.
Surely.
definitely.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah. I don't think it's a big thing. And then, we have this fish. It's
So he's
jumping,
playing
it's
up, he's carrying on.
Like, they're
They've
all
got
looking
their
at us.
phones out,
Going,
like on these, like I'd say like $1 million.
Look at these.
And
Yeah.
they're video on us.
Are they?
some are going like this, and others like.
Oh, really?
Yeah, some are getting around us. Anyway,
Yeah.
whatever. That we end up getting that sort of boat side that busted off. We end up hooking a few more that day, and that was that. And then we went back the following week. We're out again, exact same situation. Game boats around, hook up again. This time it's like this is a pretty big one.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it fucking starts going airborne, and we're fighting. And probably fighting for 30 minutes, getting close to the boat. I'm about to sort of get it in, and Jack's sort of coming around the ski. Next minute, this great white comes out,
way.
maybe like 15 metres off the boat. You can see the footage on our page. Just nails the marlin, and
Right
we just
there.
go right in front of us.
Just
We're going,
oh my god.
What
shit,
the
like no way. Like they don't normally get shark very often because they're such a big fish.
Yeah.
Anyway, this thing, we're like, oh, we're going to lose it. We really wanted to land one on the ski.
Yeah.
And anyway, it just took the tail and it come in. I've grabbed the bill and like dragged it on. There's blood
I'm driving
pissing
away.
everywhere. The whole gunnels are full of blood and water.
The same boats are still cheering it around you going.
Holy shit, I've grabbed the bill, like dragged it on. I'm like, how'd he go? Like we've boosted off and like all the blood and the water's coming out. Like, because you know, you feel safe, but you're also like, you're
the
in
shark
the water.
was well and
You're on a
truly
jet
bigger than
ski.
the jet ski.
Yeah.
Like the shark was bigger than the jet
Yeah.
ski.
Big shark.
Yeah.
But we had every intention of releasing that fish.
Yeah.
Obviously, we had to keep it because it was going to die anyway.
Yeah.
But
True.
We didn't have we weren't going with a kill bag to like take this fish home. So
Oh,
we
especially
had
a marlin too. It's
Oh,
huge.
100%.
So
How
we
big was
had-
it?
It would have been like 2 meters long, 2.5 meters long.
Yeah,
Holy.
it's a large fish. Yeah.
So we had to
Like
drive.
50, 60 kilos or bigger?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
reckon it would have been
Yeah.
like full body and all. Like would have
Yeah.
been a 50, which is not
50
like
pigs.
massive in the terms of what Marlin get to, but as far as
But
inshore
still-
on
that's
the
still
jet
big,
ski,
yeah,
you know
sure.
what we were doing.
But we had to drive home from Seals 2 hours with the marlin in
2
the
hours on the
gunnel.
jet ski.
In the
Yeah.
gun. No, like, so we got the jet ski back on the.
Sorry, gotcha.
But
Yeah.
The marlin is in the gunnel, and we're driving servo to servo, filling it up with ice.
With a Marlin like, strapped into the jet ski,
People just
driving down the
going,
highway.
What the fuck?
Like we're driving past people with a marlin.
Thumbs up, boys. Thumbs up.
Anyway, we end up filling it up, eating it, and it was
That's
unreal.
so
An
loose.
epic experience, and we caught it all sort of on footage. Not
Yeah.
from it would have been ideal to get better
Of
angles
course.
or whatever. Like always wishing for more, but yeah,
Can't
it was
have
an
Cody there
unreal
every time.
experience.
So
Yeah.
it just come from one idea from you being like, let's go give this a crack.
Let's do
and
it.
it actually happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your opinion on like keeping fish versus releasing? Because this is one of Dad's questions. He was like to ask the boys.
Well, I suppose it's hard. We don't spearfish. So
Yeah,
spearfish is
true.
like all your selective.
True.
Everything you catch, say on the reef or stuff, like you somewhat have to keep the stuff from deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends. Like the fishes, like if you pull them out deep, they suffer barotrauma, which is
Yeah.
just pretty much that they die. They can't be released for the most part.
Yeah.
But I reckon we're pretty big advocates of catch and release. Like
Yeah.
I'm like always have been, especially for species I'm passionate about. But time and a place to keep a feed.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like when we're away camping, knock a
Exactly,
few
yeah.
fillets off. We feed for
Yeah.
dinner. Like take a little bit home. But I've never been someone to like go and just pillage and fill the freezer
Yeah.
for like 6 months worth of fish. It was
Yeah.
like, if you're gonna eat it fresh.
Yeah.
Especially,
Yeah, well
That's our
said.
way anyway.
especially
Well
with the
said.
trophy fish, like you're chasing trophy fish.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You want to release that.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
beautiful. It could be alive for like 35 years. actually.
Yeah.
A bit of respect as well. You've been fishing
Yeah.
for ages. You finally get one, then you kill it. And it's
Yeah.
it's obviously for someone who doesn't fish, it probably makes no sense. Like, why
No,
bother?
true.
Yeah.
But for people who do, I think that's very well said.
Yeah, yeah.
Great answer.
Yeah.
Love that. What about a bucket list, boys, in terms of fishing? We'll stick with fishing because we're on that.
Funny you say that. I got a bit of a bucket list thing coming up next month. Another little just off the cuff. We're going to California.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that briefly?
Yeah. So one of my mates who we went to Mexico with, he's a captain over in Cali in Newport. So yeah, he invited me over to go bluefin tuna fishing next month.
Yeah. Wow.
And stay with them for a couple of weeks. And I asked Camo because Camo's he's up for anything as well.
Yeah.
So like, Camo, you want to come? He's like, yeah. So we're going over, going to chase bluefin and swordfish.
And these bluefin aren't just like, your little small tuna. This is like double the size of us.
Right. So big gear.
Just cool.
Yeah.
Like even if you don't fish, you'd be like, that's pretty cool.
That's hectic.
That's pretty epic.
So it's going to be good. Going to get to an NBA and NFL game over there too.
As well.
Yeah, it's going to be good, man.
That would be so good,
excited.
man. NFL will be good too. Season's just kicked off.
I know. It's Monday night footy,
I've been watching this morning. I was up early watching. My multi's bombed out quickly. I was fucking off it.
You and
I can't be waking up in the mornings being like, fuck, is there any green ticks there? Fuck. I'm already fucking bombed out. Find the 6:30 game. Oh, quickly, let's find another one.
I love it.
What's next for Less Ordinary? Let's talk about next year.
So I guess we'll touch on the giveaway thing. We've got another sister business that we're dropping. Won't say too much about it, but yeah, we've got something pretty big that we're going to drop in the new year. That's going to be pretty exciting, and yeah, we're pretty keen. We won't talk about it, but what's next from content?
Pretty much, we've had a whole restructure in terms of right, we're going to focus on what we do best and make cool content, and just do the shit we love, because I feel like, you start a business, you can, lose focus on that, and all of a sudden, we had brands reaching out to us and stuff like that, and, I hate to say it, but you get a bit ahead of yourself.
It's hard not to be
people are throwing this, going, oh, wow. But then, at the end of the day, we're like, why did we start this? Let's get back to our roots. So for us, we're going to be a massive focus on YouTube.
Yep.
Creating content on YouTube, Instagrams, and all our social media platforms pretty much. But basically, bottom line, we're just going to be doing shit again. Because at the start, obviously, we're nothing, 100 followers, no one cares. So you're just doing all the shit, and all of a sudden you're growing. And then
people start caring.
Which is
funny, isn't it?
Yeah, 100% it is.
Yeah.
It's we've been doing this for a while now. Why are you starting to care now, you know? But that's like anything, though. It's that's how brands grow.
100%.
Yeah,
and it's consistency, and it's sticking to the process.
Yeah.
I think it's great that you boys are trying to continue with that mantra of we're not going to get ahead of ourselves. Brands throwing shit at me, people getting messages, people reaching out. The obvious answer there is fucking come on in, But
big thing we talked about the other day is I don't know, taking the odd brand on, but not never hard selling anything, because it's not what people want to see. Always stick to.
That's a good point too, hey, because it becomes a bit. You do get people who would follow you who would be like, oh, I know what these boys are doing now.
Yeah,
they're following
100%.
you for a reason. What I mean? They want to see the fishing stuff. So if you're coming on with all the promotional content, it's fuck.
And people see through it, we touched on before, being authentic in that. You start selling, it's
100%.
I love what they did. Why are they doing this? And we're all right, let's just stay true to what we're doing. Focus on the what it is, and it is the content we love making it. We do it anyway.
It heaps fun for us.
It's 10 times better. Let's just stay true to that, rather than like you said. You see them oh, I see what they're up to. We I reckon we're our own biggest critics. We have the biggest fear of being perceived these boys are selling out and whatever. We just want to stay true to us and people that like our shit, and just keep doing what we're doing. And,
Now, it'd be silly of me not to ask about a certain someone was on your story the other day, Alex Volk.
Big Volk.
What? Okay. Well, I'll be honest. I brushed past that and I saw it and I thought to myself, what the fuck is Alex Volk doing with fucking Jack? What is going on? Can you give us a bit of a rundown of what was going on there?
Yeah, so we're at the Full Drive show in Sydney, and I had a huge night, man. I got lost in Bondi and shit. Had a pretty big night.
Actually, I saw those stories about you getting picked up, being here he is.
The boys come and got me. We went straight there, and we're sitting there, and on the way up, Trey and stuff were talking about cooking with Volk. He runs a little.
True.
We want to let's do collaborations. We're just we always dream big. And anyway, we've talked about that.
And then we're sitting there, and I'm hungover as shit, and I'm over the loudspeaker, I just hear. And at 12 o'clock, Alex Volkanovski will be doing Cooking with Volk at the TJM stand. And I just looked at Gus and I said, Did you hear that?
Didn't you just crack up laughing as well?
Just
Like
lost
hissing themselves.
And we walked up there and just had a chat with him, man. And yeah, he was sick, dude. And it was
That's hectic, man.
Goosebump shit. Listen to him talk about.
Oh
all
man,
the UFC
it's
stuff
so
too.
weird. Oh, he's such an Aussie bloke, like a normal rugby league Aussie bloke.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know he's big.
No.
And then you look at his accolades, and it's like, mate, he is like King Dick.
He's
like he's achieved,
goat talk, man.
mate,
Like,
Yeah.
big time.
yeah.
It is cool to see that. That would have been pretty like. We was a bit stunned. We was a bit like, holy fuck, it's Alex
For sure,
Volk.
like,
Or
at the start for sure, but then when you start talking to him, he's just like a dude. Like he talks so well and just like
Does he?
nicest, most genuine guy.
Yeah.
and just loves all the shit. Like
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
up with
yeah.
all the all the content creation.
Yeah.
because he does
Yeah.
a lot of it. But it'd be unreal to do a little collab one day. But
oh
he's a
mate,
busy man,
if you're
obviously, but-
watching Alex, you know the boys are keen.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
He won't be watching, but if you are, just quickly, boys, before we wrap it up, NRL, you both watched the footy, obviously. Predictions for the next Knights, obviously losing the weekend.
Tough
I'm
to
a
see,
mad
yeah,
Knights
yeah.
fan. That was pretty devastating. I was actually gutted. They probably could have won that. What's your predictions for the finals next few weeks?
Yeah, it was a gutsy little run home by him, though.
It was, man.
But,
they need a bit more credit, I think. Everyone's pretty quick to be like,
They are,
fuck,
yeah.
they lost again. But
If
for
we
them
had-
to get to where they were,
100%.
mate, even I was like, if they can make the finals here a few weeks out, it'll be
Huge.
incredible.
And
I
it was
would love to
close.
see-
It was like
It was so
like
close.
there was nothing in it. Like we were at work. I remember like listening on the radio, and
Yeah.
like you hone in like oh you obviously can't see what's happening.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see Brady out there. That's for sure.
I know.
But you can't go past the Panthers. Man.
You reckon
Yeah,
Penrith?
you can't. Although the way they played on the weekend,
They were good.
it's
They
yeah,
were
you can't
really
go
good.
past them, eh?
Them versus Melbourne in the final, do you
I think
think?
so, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what everyone's saying. I think that's a pretty
Trey, you're on that too?
Yeah.
I think I'm on that train as well. But I'm
Yeah.
going Melbourne. I'm going Melbourne to
You're
beat
going
something
Penrith.
different.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah.
So
Penrith
we
have
what,
won
three-
too much.
3 in a row, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
come on, bro.
They are different in a grand final, Melbourne.
But
though.
they are.
They are
But geez, Penrith did look good on the weekend.
Oh.
Like they were
Force to be
clinical.
reckoned with,
Yeah,
yeah.
so they're a big chance. All right, that'll wrap it up. I don't know. That's probably been. You reckon that's been? Does it say 56 minutes? That's plenty. Yeah. Thanks very much for viewing, watching. Whatever you've been doing out there, there'll be a few cut moments from today's podcast, but very grateful to have the boys from Less Ordinary on today. Be sure to go and give them a follow on Instagram and all their socials. Be sure to include them in the description. We'll tag all their information. So if you're a fisherman out there, boating, camping, fishing, whatever you do, great band to follow for the future as well. So
Thanks for having us, brother.
and
Yeah,
don't be
appreciate
afraid to follow me too. You know, just because I am the one doing all the fucking talking. So don't leave me out there. Follow them, but yeah, follow me too. But yeah, thanks boys for coming on. It's been good fun,
You're a legend,
and
bro.
we'll be in touch. Thanks guys.
Thank you.
Peace.